Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
As the long winter wait for the Yankees to do something continues, we do have a rumor to talk about. Edward Cabrera of the Marlins linked to the Yankees as a possible trade candidate. We got TK here, and we will talk about it. Also, should Hal Steinbrenner sell the Yanks? We got your mailbag questions. Should we trade Jazz? All that stuff. Coming up next, this is Pinstripe Territory.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Joined tonight by my friend and co-host, Terrence, who we call TK. Here to talk a little bit of hot stove action. TK, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for the Paul DeJong press conference at Yankee Stadium? Does this make the Yankees the clear favorite in the American League?
I would have been excited like 7 years ago, I'll say. But, okay, cool. Yeah. Woo, yay.
Depth piece.
Stove.
Well, we did get some actual hot stove stuff today. So Joel Sherman is reporting, just as of like 5 minutes ago, I'm not sure if you've seen this, that the Yankees have made a second offer to Cody Bellinger. So clearly there's some competition going on. I'm going to be so pissed if he ends up with like the Blue Jays. The Mets I could see because, if they really want him and they need him, they have had a really bad offseason. Steve Cohen can pay basically any price that he wants and outbid for a player. We've seen him outbid other teams for guys like Verlander and Max Scherzer by just going astronomically higher than market value. I could see him doing that for Cody Bellinger. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, essentially did that with Soto, right, with all the escalators in the contract. But I think for Bellinger, I don't really see the Blue Jays. I think the Blue Jays are kind of all in on Kyle Tucker. I think Kyle Tucker is going to go to Toronto. That's just my take there. But I do think the Mets are a legitimate threat just because he is exactly what they need. Obviously, Pete Alonso is in the AL East now with the Orioles, so there's a vacancy at first base. I mean, I get, okay, they got Polanco or whatever, but, Cody Bellinger is a much better first baseman, and he can play the outfield as well. So I do think for the Mets, their fan base is kind of ready to revolt if they don't do anything this winter, if they just lose two of their stars. So I really do think they're in a bit of a desperation mode, and I see them as a legitimate threat for sure, and I expect them to be very much in the running. And I think also there's a little bit of we stole another guy from the Yankees second year in a row. I think there's a little bit of that as well. And then the other team that I heard about was the Dodgers, because, of course, the Dodgers are going to be involved with everybody, and he was there. He started his career there, and he won an MVP with them, so I could see that as well. And then the one other team I'll throw out there, Derek, is probably the Giants. I think the Giants make a lot of sense, too, for Cody Bellinger.
Yeah, and the Giants are always actively recruiting, trying to get people to come there. And the Yankees, I believe, open up the season in San Francisco.
They do,
so that'd be interesting.
Netflix.
Are you going to try and go? That would be awesome. Let's get live from the stadium TK pregame show. That would be absolutely sick. We got to work that out. But we do have a mailbag episode tonight. We're going to talk about Hal Steinbrenner. Would he actually sell? I think a lot of us are in agreement that he should sell. I think that, if you're not going to spend the money and you've got the financial constraints that he appears to have, I think that you should sell it to a team or to an ownership group that's going to treat this team properly. I will go on record and say that I hope he sells, but I don't think he will. We'll talk about that. We'll check in on the state of the American League East and look at the dashboards for every team, their 40-man roster, and kind of where they ranked last year, and kind of figure out where the Yankees rank at this point. But first, we got a rumor to talk about. Edward Cabrera of the Marlins. TK, I'm going to lay out the scouting report for you, and you just tell me what comes to mind here. 27 years old, just had his best year, 8-7 record, 3.53 ERA, 137 innings. Fastball goes from 96 to 98 or 99 miles an hour, so he's got a great arm. He's got some Luis Gil vibes in that he doesn't always know where the ball is going. Like, he'll miss his spots, but instead of being like a high fastball guy, he's a sinker guy. Like, he gets a lot of sink on his pitches, kind of like Cam Schlittler does. So I want to kind of talk about that. The Yankees were able to kind of get more out of his fastball, so maybe they can do that with Cabrera as well. He has a power changeup, and it's one of the most unique changeups in the league. It's 91 to 93 miles an hour and has just absolutely disgusting, devastating fade. Kind of like Pedro Martinez had, but Pedro threw his a lot slower. He had a lot more differential between the two. That's kind of what made him like the Hall of Famer that he is, combined with his fastball. He's got a good slider, decent curveball. He pitched a career best 137 and 2/3 innings, allowed less than a hit per inning this season. He was really good during the middle of the season, ERA of 2 in May, and then in the 2s in both June and July, kind of struggled down the stretch. He had some blister issues. He had some elbow issues. This guy's injury list is absolutely ridiculous. It reads like movie credits. Like you got to scroll to get down his injury and transaction list. So that's something that does concern me. But if you look at the StatCast numbers, they're pretty good. I mean, the breaking ball run value is elite. Fastball velocity is elite. Chase percentage, whiff percentage, strikeout percentage, and ground ball percentage, all right around the top 25% of the league. The Talkin' Yanks guys seems to think that the package going back for him will be Ben Hess, former first-round pick for the Yankees, and Dylan Lewis, who's a 22-year-old who spent last season in Single A. So knowing all of that, I want to get your thoughts on this Edward Cabrera rumor as of right now.
I hate it.
Really?
Straight up. I hate it so much. I think he has good stuff, and the Yankees, the Yankees love their sinker guys. They're big fans of that, ground ball pitchers and keeping the ball in the ballpark. But the injuries to me are an enormous concern. Now he's pretty cheap. I think he made like 3.6 last year, and he's got like 2 more arbitration seasons.
I think he's got 3 years of control. At least.
Yeah,
maybe 2.
so he's got a little bit of control, and that's obviously valuable, but I hate it. I wouldn't want to trade Ben Hess for that. The injuries are the main concern. I don't think he's reliable enough to stay on the field. I'm looking through his like Savant page, and something that I noticed with his Savant is that his expected ERA always seems to be higher than his actual ERA, with the exception of 2023 when he had a lower expected ERA. It just sort of seems, when I like really went into the numbers, that the command is a massive problem for him. He's got pretty good stuff, but like you said, he doesn't know where the ball is going. And I just feel like he kind of gets lucky in some weird way, that he has had better seasons than he was supposed to have, kind of like the opposite way with Ben Rice having a worse season than he should have had. But on his 2025 Savant page, 8th percentiles, hard hit percentage, average exit velo, 22 percentile. 2022 seems to be his best season, but the fastball run value is really poor. I absolutely hate it. If you're going to not give up Ben Hess, if you're going to give up a couple prospects that I've like never heard about, and that's a bit unfair and unrealistic of me to say, and I understand that, but there's just no way that I'd give up Ben Hess for him. I'm sorry, I just wouldn't. Ben Hess has way more years of control. He hasn't even made the major leagues yet. I like his upside way more, and the injuries are extremely concerning. I hate this move. Hate it.
That's an interesting take. I don't hate it as much as you do because I haven't heard as many great things about Ben Hess. And he seems to be one of those guys who is fantastic one day and then awful the next, like one start to the next. He's very erratic. But the same can be said for Edward Cabrera, right? So I think that I would pull the trigger on this move. Hess and Dylan Lewis, to me, is not a difference maker this year. And right now you're trying to win with Judge in his prime. And this is a guy who got better. The Yankees and the Mets are both in on him. So perhaps these teams are seeing something in the metrics that we just talked about that they think they can improve. Maybe the Yankees feel like they can, get him in the pitching lab with Matt Blake and unlock something else. He clearly took some steps this year. He had his best year. So it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. This could happen soon. From what I'm hearing, this seems like the most boiling hot to the surface rumor that we've had all winter, which is saying a lot. It's just been a devastatingly slow winter, but I don't hate it as much as you do. I will say this. Brian Cashman likes to piece together seasons, right? I mean, and if you're picking up a guy who's going to get hurt, let him start the season with the Yankees and pitch the first few months when you need him. And then if he gets hurt, you hope it's not too bad, and then he misses the second half or some of the second half when, Cole and Rodon are hitting full strength, and then you basically are able to build a full rotation throughout the season. And then, you pick your best 4 or 5 for the postseason. So I don't hate this as much as you do, but I'm not crazy about it. Control issue pitchers drive me absolutely nuts. But he did have 150 strikeouts and 48 walks. That's not exactly it's like a 3-to-1 ratio. That's not terrible.
No, that's pretty good. I mean, the last thing that I'll kind of say about it is obviously the Yankees want to make this move because they think that they can make him better. They see something in the deep analytics, whatever. Matt Blake must like him. They see something. They wouldn't just make it for no reason. My thing is just that I think the injuries are incredibly concerning to me. I don't think he's going to be reliable. And also, he's coming from Miami. I don't know how he's going to respond to being in New York. That's always going to be something when you're coming over to the Yankees. I lived in Miami for a summer. I went to a couple Marlins games when they were playing like the Rockies. There's like 48 people in the stands. It's just not the same thing at all. They probably had more butts in the seat for the Stadium Series Rangers Panthers the other night than they have for a Marlins game in years, man. So that is definitely something that I'd rather them make the deal for Alcantara or Alcantara, or however the hell you say his name. I'd rather them make the deal for him, even though he's really struggled. But that guy's at least won a Cy Young. Like, I've seen him do it at the major league level. Cabrera, to me, is just kind of like whatever.
Well, we'll see how it shakes out. We got a lot to talk about tonight, so let's move on. And if we get some breaking news, we'll revisit it. So this is kind of a mailbag episode. These are all like DMs or emails or comments that we've gotten that I wanted to just kind of devote topics to while nothing's happening. We've talked about whether or not Hal should sell the Yankees, especially if he has trouble competing financially with the Dodgers and the Mets. The Yankees are supposed to be the powerhouse. If he wants to restore balance to the universe like Thanos, maybe he needs to, hand over the keys to like a big hedge fund or something, one of those big Wall Street firms and let them have at it, or see what, Mark Cuban can do, or, someone of that ilk, a billionaire who's into sports. I don't mind, I don't mind selling it to like an eccentric billionaire, but I want it to be somebody with the desire to win. The last thing you want is somebody who's just going to pocket the profits, because that's kind of what we have now with Hal. At least Hal keeps the Yankees moderately in contention. It's a $300 million payroll-ish every year. I had to Google whether or not he has children, because he keeps his family life much more private than his father did. Now, he does have a daughter who is involved in the organization, and you could see the potential of her taking over as the new owner. There haven't been a lot of female owners in Major League Baseball. Marge Schott was one. She was terrible. Hopefully this woman would be better. But that would be the third generation of Steinbrenner to own the Yankees if he handed over the keys. What are your thoughts? Do you think he would ever sell? Do you think that he's going to basically hold on to the Yankees until he dies, kind of like George did, and then someone else will take over? Or do you think that he'll cash out in a couple of years?
I don't think he's going to sell the team. I don't think there's even a remote chance of that happening. Sports franchises just across sports, not even baseball, have kind of exploded in value in the last few years. I think the Yankees, if they were to sell right now, it'd be over $10 billion and climbing. Brian Cashman has a daughter as well. I don't know if you knew that, Derek, but we're going to have Brian Cashman's daughter and Hal Steinbrenner's daughter for the next 40 years. It'll be the same regime, just the next generation.
I think his daughter is like hosting a TV show, right? Doesn't she host like the What's My Number or something, or the Story of My Number or whatever that show is? I don't think she's in the front office.
She does like social media or whatever, but we're going to have Joe Girardi's daughter, who's going to be the sideline reporter for them. And then Hal Steinbrenner's daughter running the team and Cashman's daughter running the team with him. But I don't think he's going to sell, man. And should he sell is a different conversation. I think it's really just a very nuanced conversation with Hal Steinbrenner. It's almost he's not cheap. I hate people that say he's cheap. I don't think he's cheap. He's consistently top 5, top 3 in the league in payroll, and it's just not the same game as it was when his father owned the team. You lose draft compensation, all that stuff, the tax, blah, 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 whatever. And this may all change with the salary cap right after the lockout happens. But my biggest gripe with Hal Steinbrenner is Brian Cashman, or at least the loyalty to Brian Cashman. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, hey, listen, I really appreciate the work you've done. Let's have a mutual parting of the ways, like just to kind of smooth it over in the press and just kind of go in a different direction. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And that's my one problem with him is sort of just hesitance or just absolute, stubbornness of moving on that way. It is frustrating, but I don't think he's a bad owner. There are terrible owners in sports that are just, I have friends of mine, like if you're a Jet fan, people who are Jet fans watching this, I mean, Woody Johnson might be the worst owner in sports right now. It could be so much worse. So it's just a nuanced conversation, Derek. My only problem with him is the blind loyalty, if you want to call it that, to Brian Cashman.
It's almost like the opposite of George, who was not super loyal. I mean, he would keep people on the payroll, but he fired people all the time. So, yeah, I mean, it's a complete opposite of the spectrum. I want to talk about the AL East. I want to see where you think the Yankees rank right now, and I thought maybe we could kind of walk through some of the other teams and how they did last year versus their current roster. Let's start with the Red Sox. What are your thoughts on the Red Sox? I think they're going to be better this year than they were last year, just from a development standpoint, right? We're going to see guys like Rafaela and Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer and Carlos Narvaez and probably Jarren Duran. We're going to see these guys get better. They've made another offer to Bregman, who had decent numbers despite missing a lot of time via injury. But I mean, you look at guys like Roman Anthony, 859 OPS. I mean, what are your thoughts on the Red Sox?
I think the Red Sox are going to be good, man. And when we go through this, let's just put it out there right now. Health is a factor. We're assuming everybody's healthy, so we got that out of the way. But Roman Anthony, I think Roman Anthony is going to be an absolute stud. I really like Jarren Duran. Trevor Story finally had a good year for them. Alex Bregman, isn't he? Didn't he opt out? Isn't he a free agent right now?
Yeah, he's a free agent. They made an aggressive offer to bring him back. Apparently, it's the latest headline. But we'll see. I mean, I think they're going to be really good, TK. I think that.
Yeah, I do, man.
Right now, they're number 2 in the division. I think the Blue Jays right now are clearly the best team in the American League. Last year, they led the league in batting average with 265 and on base percentage at 333. Now, Bo Bichette, a key part of that, still a free agent, but they still have George Springer. They still have Vladdy Guerrero. Alejandro Kirk continues to be a menace. And, they've got some good pitching. They've got Dylan Cease now, who he's not officially on their 40-man roster yet, which is interesting. But he is he's a really good pitcher. And Kevin Gossman always seems to give the Yankees trouble recently. What are your thoughts on the Jays? I mean, are they the clear favorites in the American League right now?
You got to say that. I mean, they're the reigning American League champs, right? And they just signed Okamoto as well, the Japanese guy. So that's another just sort of like high contact, low strikeout kind of guy that they have, and they're kind of riddled with players like that. Bo Bichette's obviously a free agent. It's remain to be seen if he comes back. But I just said I think Kyle Tucker is going to the Jays, and if they get him, I mean they're going to be formidable. They got pretty good pitching. The Dylan Cease signing for them was huge. He is got amazing stuff. If he stays healthy, he's legitimate A's quality stuff with him. If not, a really, really good number 2. But I think for them, the biggest problem is bullpen. Because Jeff Hoffman wasn't getting it done. But I could see them making a big splashy kind of move at the deadline for a big time closer, somebody like that. The Blue Jays are going to be really good, man. They don't strike out. They play clean. It's basically the opposite Yankee. It's the anti-Yankees right now, the way they're constructed, the way they're built. They have a very flexible bench, a very flexible lineup. There's a lot of guys on their team that can play multiple different positions, which allows their manager to make really kind of smart moves and aggressive moves in certain ways in the game. And they're athletic. I think they're really well built for where the game is at right now, the way it is played. And I think that the Blue Jays, are probably the best team in the American League right now.
Let's talk about the Orioles. I think the Orioles have taken a big step back. They only had 2 guys qualify for the batting crown last year, Gunnar Henderson and Jackson Holliday. And Holliday hasn't developed as quickly as they thought he would. He moved through the organization very quickly, but has struggled a little bit since coming to the major leagues. But I still think he's going to be a really good player. Gunnar Henderson had a bit of a down year. He started injured, and I think that set him back for the whole year. I don't know about their pitching. They did sign Pete Alonso. I'm not super worried about the Orioles. I don't think they're going to be as bad as they were last year, where they were 75 and 87 and had a negative 111 run differential. But I also think they're going to be trouble. They've got some young talent that's still getting better, and you might see somebody like Gunnar Henderson or Jackson Holliday have a breakout MVP caliber season.
Yeah, totally. I could totally see Jackson Holliday kind of breaking out this year. Gunnar Henderson is too good of a player to not have a good year this year. Adley Rutschman is the one that's really weird to me, that he just kind of just fell off and just wasn't good anymore. I mean, they just signed Alonso, but maybe one of those guys will DH. Maybe just the defensive aspect of playing catcher is beating up Rushman a little bit too much. But the pitching for them, they didn't re-sign Corbin Burns, which was obviously a mistake. I know he got hurt and got Tommy John surgery, but he was a very stable top of the rotation guy for them in that one season. Felix Bautista, the guy has got unbelievable stuff as a closer. If he's with it, he is one of the best in the game. Injuries have been a problem for him. But I think the Orioles, I agree with you. I don't think that they're going to be the Blue Jays, or I don't think they're going to be like dominating the division or the league for that matter. But I definitely think they're going to be like a thorn in the Yankees side where there's going to be a really critical game and they put up like a 4-spot or something in the first inning and they kind of punch you in the mouth a little bit because that lineup can mash, man, especially with Pete Alonso. They can mash for sure.
And the Rays last year, 77 and 85 plus 31 run differential. And he's still got Junior Caminero, who's one of the more exciting hitters in baseball, 45 home runs last year. And I think he's only about 22 years old, maybe even 21 years old. Massive power. I tell you what, TK, I traded for him. I've got a franchise in MLB The Show. This is totally irrelevant and nobody cares, but I traded for him at MLB The Show, and he's putting up 60 home runs a year. So if he's anything like his digital avatar, he's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, I usually when I have a franchise going, he's like one of the first guys that I look to trade for. He's expensive in MLB The Show, though. But, he's a really, really good player. He's a franchise cornerstone for them. The Rays are weird. The Rays are like, they just lost Pete Fairbanks, too, in free agency. The Rays are not supposed to be good, but they just always find a way to just kind of be there somehow. They just are a really well-run organization, and they can develop talent really well. And Caminero is going to be a big problem in the division. Are they playing in the Trop? Or are they playing in Steinbrenner Field?
They're supposed to play at the Trop. So we'll see how that shakes out. Yeah. But, I wanted to play a little bit of alternate universe with you here because – Brian Cashman started as an intern. You were at one point an intern within the Yankees front office. So if you believe in the many worlds theory of reality, then there is an alternate timeline where you and I, both the GM of the Yankees, but you came a little bit closer than I did. So I wanted to kind of say, you stepped through the portal right now. You're the new GM of the Yankees. Everything else is the same. What are you focusing on right now? Like where would you turn your attention?
It's funny. You asked me to do this, and I took a lot of time thinking about this. I wrote some notes down, some scribblings, and what I kept coming down to is first I'd try to re-sign Cody Bellinger, but not to the point where I'm going to overpay for his value because I desperately need him back. Like if he walks to another team because he got a 7-year deal from them, I'm good. I don't think I would go more than 5 with him. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if he'll take that. And essentially that might even be a 4-year deal because I'm considering the lockout next season. This is one of those off seasons where I think that is a big thing for the Yankees, that they may not be as aggressive as normally would be because they don't know what's going to happen with the new CBA. But I would re-sign Cody Bellinger. Ideally, he comes back. Then it's funny. I kept going back and forth on this, but I really have come to terms with I'd sign Bo Bichette. I would. I'd have him play either second or third. And if I signed Cody Bellinger and if I signed Bo Bichette, believe it or not, I would look to trade Jazz Chisholm. Not because I don't like Jazz Chisholm. I love Jazz Chisholm. You know this, Derek. I was like the first guy to be like they should get Jazz Chisholm, and they did. It was a good take of mine that aged really well for me. But I would trade him just because he's probably their most tradable asset right now. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He's a good player. He's an all-star caliber player. He's one of the better second basemen in the league. Athletic. He's got a lot of power. We all know about Jazz. His biggest issue is that he can't really stay healthy. But just because if you had Bichette playing second, this is a guy who hit over 300. He runs pretty well as well. And he's a righty bat. They're trying to get a little less left-handed and get more right-handed. And the Jazz thing is like, I don't know and not just to deal Jazz because you need to dump his salary or you just want to get rid of him, but you're trying to get a legitimate return for Jazz Chisholm, which for me could be like a better starting pitcher than Edward Cabrera or a really, really good end of the bullpen kind of guy or, a better player in the outfield. So I think that's probably the direction I would go in. And that's not to say that I wouldn't hold on to Jazz. I think what they're going to do is they're probably
You
going to
just said you literally just said you would trade Jazz. So it is saying you wouldn't hold on.
I did say that.
You literally
I did say
said that.
But I'm just saying, like, it's not. I would trade him if I sign those two players, but it's not like just trade him to trade him. Like I hold on to him if there isn't the right deal out there.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how the actual GM works things out. I wanted to also revisit, while we're in the alternate universe, one move. And I think that we had to pick two different moves because we both kind of landed on the same move in our pre-show prep. I'm going to go ahead and take the Bryce Harper instead of Giancarlo Stanton. I think the Yankees might have won in 2019. Now, I get it. Stanton has been incredibly clutch in the postseason, but Harper's still going to be good for a few more years. I think as a lefty in Yankee Stadium, he would have been amazing. And I love that he's a team guy. He moved to first base. Like, it would have been a completely different environment.
He's also really clutch in October too. It's not like you're losing that.
Right.
He was born to be a Yankee. It's just a shame. Mine was not trading Chance Adams for Garrett Cole when he was a Pittsburgh Pirate and he went to Houston instead. I think that if the Yankees got Garrett Cole and they traded at the time Chance Adams and Clint Frazier for him at the time, that probably gets it done. And he doesn't go to Houston, and instead you have him on your team, and he doesn't shove in the playoffs. And I think they probably win the World Series in 2019 or 2018. 2019 is when he was unbelievable, but they ended up getting him anyway. But the timing of it was a little bit off, especially COVID. It's almost unfair, right? If COVID never happens, maybe they win in 2020. That's like
maybe
a normal year.
That felt like the year that they were going to do it. Then they ended up just spinning their wheels and not being that good. Yeah. All right, let's take a few voicemails here to wrap things up. First voicemail here is, I don't remember what
Hey, Derek, thank you for giving Yankee fans this forum. I'm an older fan, and this year's coming team reminds me a bit of 1965. Older guys you are counting on to continue to be excellent, and guys coming off injury, especially Garrett Cole. He's on a Hall of Fame trajectory. I don't expect him to be at that level to 27 or maybe the end of 26 if there's any reason to be pitching him then. But this year I wouldn't sign Bellinger. I'd love to go after Suarez, Eugenio Suarez, if we can find some idiot to take McMahon off our hands. But there's not another Cashman out there, unfortunately. I would go after Bichette, 5 years, excellent player, one of the best in baseball, and DFA Giancarlo. Take the medicine because you got to play Dominguez and Jones and find out what we got. Thanks.
I can't see a scenario in which they DFA and eat Giancarlo when he just had a really productive season. I do think that there is a world out there where you could see him getting traded by a team that's, desperate for power if he was willing to go, because he does have that no trade clause, so he would have to waive it. But I just think it's unrealistic. I think what's going to happen with Giancarlo is he's either going to play out his contract and then leave, or he's going to have like injuries and kind of go out the A-Rod to Sharaway where he gets like DFA'd once the money is paid and it's like, down to the last 6 months of his contract or something like that. That's kind of what I see from Giancarlo.
Yeah, he's got 2 more years left on his deal, and because of the lockout, this may be the last season that we see him as a Yankee. But I kind of agree with you that I think the way for him is injuries are going to kind of get to him, and then the Yankees might kind of have this like, hey, retire and we'll kind of rework your contract kind of thing, and we'll pay you out the rest of the way and just retire. Or he'll go to another team. I don't know, but I don't see him getting DFA. The Yankees aren't going to do that. Even like alone of the baseballness away from like the PR aspect, the Yankees wouldn't just DFA Stanton. I don't think they would just do that. That would be, I think that would really send a bad message to the clubhouse. He's really beloved in that clubhouse. I don't think the players would really like that. And as weird as it is, you do have to consider that morale is a thing, and players do play better when they're all kind of feeling good about their situation. But I do agree with Dominguez and Jones, especially Jones. It's like play him or trade him. I've said that ad nauseum on this channel. Like, you got to know. And I don't want another Miguel Andujar, Clint Frazier situation with him. And it's going to happen.
I don't think that other teams value Jones as much as Yankees fans do. He strikes out so much that it's just not appealing to them. We got another call. This is about a cat.
My name's Andy, and I love your show.
Thanks, Andy.
I have a non-baseball question, though. I know you're a cat lover. I have a cat 16 years old, and he's starting to go number 2 in every place but his box, which he never did before. Between you and your fans, please help me.
All right, so that's the weirdest call I've ever gotten for sure. But
Really?
I want to help this guy. Instead of calling into the show, please call into your vet. 16 years old is pretty old for a cat, so he might be on the way out. I mean, my cat Joba died before the show in Game 3 of the ALCS in 2022. I had him for 16 years. Our cat Gizmo also passed at 16, but we just had one that turned 18 the other day, so they can still have, long lives. So forget calling into a baseball voicemail show. Call a licensed veterinarian and get that taken care of. Here's Mary Beth.
Hey, Derek. It's Mary Beth here. Yes, Hal can sell the team, please. There's something missing. You can't call him cheap because he does spend money, but I want a whole change. I want a new ownership, and I want Brian Cashman to go because it's just stale. There's something missing there, and you're the stat person. I learned from you. I'm all about feeling, and this team needs something different. It needs a different feel. So he's a billionaire. He doesn't act like a billionaire. He's not there's just something missing. So I will repeat myself 10 more times. No, I will hang up now. Yes, let's have Hal sell the team. Bye.
I can't argue with anything that she says there. I mean, I agree that the vibes are just different. It just doesn't feel like the intimidating evil empire anymore. It feels like I've said, like they're trying to compete financially with like the Rays and the Marlins. Like they're trying to cut as much as they can and stretch as much as they can while still being relevant. But they have the money. I mean, they could go out and sign Bichette and Bellinger today if they wanted to.
Yeah, Mary Beth kind of spit in there. I can't really disagree with anything she really said. The only thing I guess I'll spitting. But the only thing that I would say is with that, he doesn't act like a billionaire. It's because the Yankees, yes, he is a billionaire, but the Yankees are run like a mom and pop. It's like his business. It's not like the Dodgers Guggenheim Group where they're hedge fund guys or Steve Cohen, or they could just kind of burn a hole in their pocket spending money. Like this is their business. They don't have an alternate business. So they're very much going to kind of be looking at the margins of the franchise. And it's not to say that they don't make a ton of money. You can't say that. They do make a ton of money. The interlocking NY is like one of the most iconic logos in the world. I think you could go to a super remote area and they'll probably recognize it. This is designed by Tiffany, for God's sake. But it's really frustrating. But I do think that there is definitely something to that. It's a bit stale. It's almost Pittsburgh Steelers fans have this problem too. Like it just doesn't feel right. There's something in the air that's wrong. And to be honest with you, unfortunately, the evil empire right now is out in LA. It's the Dodgers. Not just because they won back-to-back, but because everybody kind of has the Dodgers are going to be there. There is a little bit of a fear aspect of playing them, and they seem to kind of resurrect themselves in the playoffs. And it's Ohtani, and it's Freeman, and Mookie Betts, and Skubal might get dealt. The Dodgers, here they come. And with the Dodgers, the thing that impresses me the most is, yes, they're a big market team, and this is the way the Yankees should run themselves. They're a big market team, but they got awesome analytics. They got awesome development. They got really good minor league scouts, really good international scouts. They develop their guys. They always have. Have you noticed this, Derek? In the last like 10 years, the Dodgers always have like a top 10, top 5 farm system, and they're always contending. Always. It's actually remarkable. It's so hard to do that. And the Yankees did just fire a bunch of like international prospect guys with their international system. So it'll be really weird to see how that affects things, but they're probably going to rejigger it a little bit. But that's the thing that blows me away about the Dodgers the most. So it is possible, and the Yankees should do that more. It's easy to say that. They just want back-to-back, but you know what I mean. They're good, and they also have the farm.
Well, TK, we are going to wrap it up. Thanks again for joining me on a Sunday night. Hopefully we'll get some news here about a potential trade. I know you're not a big fan of the Edward Cabrera, but I want the Yankees to do something. Let's just have them do something, for crying out loud. Any final thoughts here before we let you go?
You know, I'm going to go see Avatar tonight. Maybe when I get out of the...
I don't know anybody who likes the Avatar movies. Like, somehow they make $1 billion. Oh my God, TK. Do yourself a favor and go see Marty Supreme instead.
I saw it last night.
Oh, you saw it. First of all, you look just like the dude in that movie. Also,
Chalamet.
Fantastic movie. Highest recommendation, go see Marty Supreme. I'll tell you what, Avatar, I just can't do it with Avatar. I watched the first one. It was all right. I tried to watch the second one. I can't make it halfway through. It's just so long, and there's so many different like things going on, and it's all about the visual stuff, which is cool. But like, I just lose interest in this character and the stories, and there's no way I'm going to see 3 more of these damn movies. I'm not spending any more time. It's like I gave up on the Star Wars movies like 3 movies ago. It's just I've had enough.
Last thing I'll say about that, though, I saw The Wizard of Oz at the Sphere in Vegas. That is the future of
the movie. That looks sick.
It is insane. If anybody goes to Vegas, lives in that area, do yourself a favor and go check that out. It is one of the most unbelievable things I've ever experienced in a movie theater.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you when there's news. Until next time, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all that stuff, and we'll see you. If you enjoyed this content, please hit that like button and subscribe. Check out nydesigns.shop for some great merch. Support our sponsors. It helps keep the show going. And you can find us on all major audio platforms, so be sure to subscribe there too. But most importantly, come back again soon. We'll see you next time.